Jen, and I'm back with another 6x6 paper pad love video. Today I'm going to be using these two photos of my husband and his dad wearing my husband's grandpa's World War II jacket. And so I'm going to be using the do-it-yourself paper pad from American Crafts. And I'm using this one because it has a lot of neutrals, and I want to create kind of a subtle look so that the focus can really remain on the photos. So today what I'm going to be using or showing you how to do is really incorporate punches into your design. Now, because 6x6 paper pads are smaller, they work great for punched images. Not only because the patterns are scaled down, so they're great for, you know, smaller little pieces, but also because if you punch out a bunch of images, you can kind of fill up the page with different patterns and kind of stretch your paper that way. So what I'm going to do is, my plan is to fill up the page with a bunch of these labels. I chose this punch specifically because it has 3 different sizes of labels, and I kind of wanted to create a variety. And I'm going to punch out, like I said, I'm going to choose a bunch of neutrals. What I'm going to do is, this is a punch by EK Success, and like I said, I do want all 3. My punch is a little bit broken, so I'm going to have to play with it a little bit, but it'll work. I do want all 3 sizes. Oh boy. Well, this is going to be an adventure. And then I'm just going to punch a few, and then I'll kind of show you, give you an idea of what I'm going to do. So let me just give you an idea of kind of what my plan is. So I'm working with a cream colored base, and I really just want to kind of do a little bit of a random pattern. It's going to be a little bit tricky with the different patterns, but I think that's fine. Just going to put a variety of the shapes in different places. And I can put like a short one here, and so I'll just play around until I fill up the page. With all of the different pieces. So that's going to be a whole background. So I'm going to go ahead and punch out some more, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so before I glue this down, I kind of wanted to show you how it ended up. I did decide, instead of going a bunch of different directions with the labels, that it was going to be easier to just line them up. So I did a large label and then the smallest one next to the other size, and then I flopped them so it would make an even amount of space between them, but I could still have a little bit of variation, and then went to another larger one. So I've made my own background paper with this. I have not glued anything down, but I wanted to also show you how much paper I went through. So I did punch quite a lot of each paper. So you can see they're well used. And I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different patterns. So that's quite a lot of paper, which is fine with me because I have a lot to use up, and the paper pad comes with 2 of each kind of paper. And I have a bunch of labels left over. I just punched a ton so that I could have a nice variety. And this is what I ended up with. So what I'm going to do now is stick these down lightly, and then I'm going to stitch through 2 lines on each one so that I can get through each label, and that is going to create my background. So I'm going to admit to you, this was like kind of a tedious process, or you know, it was a lengthy process, but that doesn't bother me. I find it kind of relaxing, so just keep that in mind. If you chose a different shape that was just like one shape, that would be much quicker versus the tiny shapes that I used here. And I will insert some layouts now for you to see that show other pages that I've made using punches. And so you can see that it can be intricate if you want it to be, or you can make it a little bit less arduous. Again, you can use a punch, or you can use like your silhouette, or you could cut little shapes out of anything. So and you could use scrap paper instead of 6x6 paper pads. So there's really no wrong way to do this, but this is just the way that I'm doing it tonight. And so I'm going to get these glued and sewed down, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and adhered my layers together, and everything's kind of ski-wampus, but I did try to keep these edges straight. And I just wanted to show you how I ended up fixing that. So this paper could go underneath. I just cut a slit and slid it underneath so that could work the way that I wanted it to. So now I have this piece that I can kind of float around the layout, and I realized that all of this stuff under here is getting covered up, but that's just what happens. So now I'm ready to go ahead and add my title, and I think I'll place my title just right here on the top. That just seems like a natural place for it to rest. So I'm going to go find a titling option and maybe find some embellishments. I don't have anything that's, you know, overtly military themed or anything like that, but chevrons and stars are something that are a staple right now in the scrapbooking industry, and I have plenty of that kind of thing. So I'm going to look for a few items like that I can add for embellishment, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see I pulled out a bunch of stuff. I found some options for my title, but I also went through my stash and I found some wood veneer stars, and I dug through my basic gray die cuts because I knew I used a basic gray paper pad for this, and I found these two. This cool acetate chevron, which I don't know if it will work on this layout, but I thought I'd pull it anyway. And then this little 3x4 card that has a plane on it, which I thought would kind of be a nice touch since he was in the Air Force. And then I also pulled a bunch of other tags. These two are from a crepe paper tag set, I think from the Notes and Things line, but I could be wrong. And then these are American Crafts DIY tags. I also have some chevrons, wood veneer chevrons, so I can use those if I want to. And then I thought I would pull this for some more of the chevron and star elements, and maybe even some of these little snapshots and good times. This had also some more chevrons, so I have lots of options there. I pulled this Dear Lizzie sticker sheet because of the blue, and I thought it might be nice to pull in a pop of the blue with the love this or the heart and this little strip here, so we'll see about that. But for my titling options, I pulled these thickers. They are called Roster or Fellow. Oh, I don't know. I think these are the same, but they have a different name. They're either called Roster or Fellow. I don't think they're called Roster. That's a different one. I think they're called Fellow. And they are in gray. I'm going to use that to spell out uniform, and then I'm going to spell out the word Grandpa's. So the title will be Grandpa's Uniform. And I think for the subtitle, I'm going to use one of these red letter stickers, and these are from Basic Gray as well. So when you're using a paper pad from a certain manufacturer, it can be helpful to go and find your other products from that manufacturer because they'll tend to match. So before I start on my title, I need to get my main cluster all glued down. Go ahead and get that stuck down. So I'm going to do a bottom right kind of cluster here. Or do I want it centered? I'm inclined to put it the bottom right only because my father-in-law is looking to the left, but it kind of looks like he's looking at my husband even though they're separate photos. I think I will put it at the bottom right here. Okay, so I'm going to start with, these are the open thickers that I have, and then those ones are unopened, so I'll start with the package that's open. So I really want this to stand out, so I'm definitely going to put it on the blue, and that just means that I'll need to put a little like cluster of embellishment here. Otherwise it feels really unbalanced. And so I can either put it right on the blue or like with it a little bit above, or I can lower it and so it's completely on the blue but also on the photo. And I think I'm going to choose to put it a little bit above because when I put it on the photo it touches my husband's head, which looks weird. So I will opt to put it just above the photo like this. And I think I'm going to try to just center it on the blue. For the subtitle I have a couple of options. I've got this kind of lighter red or this one that's a little bit more bold. I think I'm going to go for the bold one. Actually, I think I'm going to go for the lighter one, and here's why. I want to use capital letters again, I think, just because the word grandpa, I just feel like it warrants that. Oh, you know what? Changing my mind again. Okay, so I'm going to use these ones because it includes an apostrophe, and grandpas will need an apostrophe S. So these are how I make my decisions. So go ahead and get those. I like to use wax paper, that way I can move them around before committing to where exactly I'm going to place them, and that way I don't have to pull them up off the page, and they peel off of the wax paper super easy. And I got that idea from Mercy Tiara here on YouTube. Her name is Tracy Banks. I think I'll just do it just like that. So I'll start and just to almost in the center. So now I'm ready to go ahead and get embellishing. So I want to see first if I can get some of those blue pieces to work. So this is a Dear Lizzie sticker sheet. I haven't used it. But it's from an older collection. It doesn't say on here what the collection is, and I cannot remember. I'm sorry. Let's see. Maybe this will be a nice little piece here. I don't think I like that. I think I'm not going to bring in the blue. It's just not working the way that I thought it would. So I will disregard that. I think what I might do right here for a cluster is I pulled out a bunch of these tags, and it might be nice to kind of just make a little bit of a cluster above the cluster. So maybe what I'll do is I'll start with that. This can overlay the photo, and maybe I'll put something behind that. And then I'll need something to kind of come in between. So I want to kind of go throughout all of the layers a little bit. And I think I want something poking out right there, so it's not so uniform, because that bugs me. I don't know if another tag is, well, I kind of like it actually. So that's a lot of tags, but I kind of like the way it looks, so I think what I'm going to do is just get these tags stuck down and find some string for that, and then I'm going to find one of the pattern papers from the 6x6 pad to just pop behind this, or maybe I'll find like a piece of gold to pop behind that, and then I will come back and finish. Okay, so I've gone ahead and found a few things, and I decided to move over the word grandpa's so that it would line up next to this little cluster that I made, so that there wasn't that awkward space between. I found some paper to place behind the star. I just used this text paper that I had in the background, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I did find a definition on there, and it says time honored, and so I purposely put it in the star so that you could see it. And like I said, these are the things that nobody notices but me, but I just like to add that little touch of meaning to everything. So I decided to use a bunch of these Teresa Collins Studio Gold chipboard pieces, and I punched out all the stars, well, not all the stars, but a lot of the stars, and then 2 of the chevron arrows. And I think I'm going to put the chevrons here, and then I'm going to put a little cluster of stars. I have not decided on this star at the top if I need to put that or not. I feel like I do need another area with the gold, and now that the way that I've got it now, I've kind of got a diagonal line going this way of embellishment. I don't want to put the star over here because there's a star here, and so I thought if I placed it kind of just above the title, that might work. But I'm going to go ahead and get my tag stuck down here, and I'm going to put, so I don't want the hole to, I want the hole to be open there, and so I don't want it to overlap that. So I'm just kind of being aware of that. Maybe I lied. I'll overlap it so that it fills the hole. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a little pop dot behind the tag so that it can stay lifted up without having to be adhered right there. There we go. And I might put a little bit behind this piece as well, just for a little bit of extra dimension. And maybe behind that corner as well. So these are really thin foam squares, so it doesn't give a ton of dimension, but it just gives a little bit. Okay, and then I used some close to my heart twine, hemp twine, for the little ties for the tags. And we go ahead and get these chevron arrows stuck down because I'm pretty sure that I know that I want those there. Okay, so I've gone ahead and adhered my gold foil pieces, and then I went ahead and typed up my journaling on my typewriter, and I just did it on the back of one of these tags because I have so many of them, just so that I could match that color and bring it down here a little bit. I liked the lightness of it, but I didn't want white, and so I'm just going to cut this into strips, and I'm just going to be bold and just do it with my scissors. I don't care if it's exactly straight. So okay, so now that I've got my journaling down, I'm going to go ahead and rough up some of the edges of these tickets or labels like I said I was going to before. I'm not going to do all of them. I don't want it to be too like visually stimulating, but I'm going to do a bunch randomly here and there. And then I'm going to, just for a little bit more interest, drop some black splatters onto the layout. And I think I'll do a few down in this corner and a few up in this corner. So it's kind of opposite of the way that the embellishment is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray a little bit of Mr. Huey's Warm Calico into the lid. And that creates nice big droplets. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm okay with imperfection, so it doesn't bother me if it kind of wicks out a little bit. And that is going to complete my layout. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of my 6x6 Paper Pad Love series, and I will be back next week with another idea for ways that you can use your 6x6 paper pads. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.